Alright guys, while we're basically still in the same channel of the price sideways, going sideways and so on, there's some very positive news out there. So let's look at the price a little later and let's have a talk about what are those news. This is absolutely fantastic. In my personal opinion, Wyoming passes bill to recognize cryptocurrencies as money. So cryptocurrencies not only just cryptocurrencies but currencies right now, right? And before there was something like, well, not something exactly, the same thing from Japan and some other countries, but like Germany, for example. But the precedent from United States state is really something, because everybody in the whole world, they're looking at what are the regulatory steps which are made in US, and if one state made this, then maybe one to another. It's like an avalanche effect when more and more states will do that, and the whole world eventually will follow. The thing is, if it is cryptocurrency, if cryptocurrencies is actually money, then it allows you to make a lot of the things from the regulatory perspective, because before, what is cryptocurrency? You can't even talk about that in a more or less definitive way. Now lawmakers and like everyone in the field, in the finances and economics, they can say, okay, this is money and this is how can we treat it. So I think that eventually we will see a huge effect from that. But now we are in a bear market, of course, so we don't have much of that effect like instantly. But like if you would imagine this and the rest of the positive news which we see recently would happen like in the end of 2017, then we probably will end up not in 20,000 per Bitcoin, but like 200,000 easily. Okay. Very bullish. Why price stays at the same level? Well, because it's not the time to have an effect from the news, actually, regardless of how bullish they are. Another great news: Stuttgart Stock Exchange becomes first regulated market with cryptocurrency trading. The thing is, it is indeed regulated market. So a lot of the exchanges, of course, are trading with the trading cryptocurrencies, but this one is sort of has a huge background with the connection with the official regulators that support it and have trust and safety and so on and so forth. So although it is small and sort of regional, but still it's an example to everybody else. And as we actually can look at this news, the Pantera Capital arguments about the Bitcoin will be back again, and we'll see some rise. They also have a nice picture here about here institutional investors have a herd mentality, so they will wait as the one of them, like the most reliable or big one, will make a first step, and then eventually all of them will follow. They don't want to be the first, they want to be soon in the game, but not the first one, not to risk too much. So, and that is basically what will happen when the price will start to climb, when we will see, okay, that it is pretty reliable to say that, like pretty safe to say that we are changing the trend. We are already past the bottom for Bitcoin, so it's probably like not that risky anymore to invest, and it will be worth investing because of the huge possible gains in the future. So actually, a couple of words of this article. You know that the Pantera Capital is one of the biggest, maybe not the biggest, but still huge investor in crypto, made a lot of the profits at least in investing in Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies. So what they are saying is that this bear market is different from the others because now basically the market, the space is bigger itself, and underlying fundamentals are much stronger. Well, can't argue with that. Trust and belief and institutional investors will come. So as the same thing which we talked about, just they need some regulatory clearance, clarity and expect SEC regulatory clarity in 6-9 months. So this is basically what those guys need. 6-9 months is basically next, like second half of 2019. That's really close, guys, actually. So we had a whole previous year without hope, well, with some hope, but all the hopes were crashed, and now very soon we see something that could be really the point when the market will change its direction to really, like, more confident bullish trend. And speaking about the trends, some sort of statistical poll was made about the Bitcoin investors who were actually moved to their investments into gold. Well, I would say it is sort of there are lies, damn lies, and statistics, right? So you need to know how exactly this was made. I can tell you like a few points already. Like, for example, yes, they turn to gold because if they are huge investors, or like more or less long-term players, I mean, they already played in the investors for a while. They actually have their investments in many areas, including stocks and commodities. And so the stocks 2018-19, well, end of 2018 especially, are not performing that well. So it's not that surprising that a lot of those people are turning into the precious metals markets, and precisely gold. So other things like that. And well, some people are just panicking because they expect Bitcoin will go even lower. So and moreover, there may be people who actually invested in Bitcoin like 5 years ago or something, and now they have even still quite good profits. So why not to turn into gold? Because a lot of people are seeing in gold better performance within maybe 1 or 2 years next years, while the Bitcoin may stay flat pretty like a lot, right? So I wouldn't really give it that of the trust, not a trust, but I wouldn't consider this as something huge. But still, people are looking at that. People are seeing this and making their decisions based on them. So this is, again, herd mentality. Okay, according to CoinDesk, and I can't disagree with them, Bitcoin is now officially in the longest bear market ever. This is what we talked about a few videos ago. They actually covered all the things which we discussed, like the fact that we are indeed in the period of the longest bear market, even longer than the previous one from 2014. And also those periodic structures and the halvening feature that it will happen in 2020. So at that point we probably already be somewhere higher than the bottom. So the bottom is very soon, and a lot of other small minor details. So yeah, we are in the longest bear market ever, which means that technically it could be over any time soon. Okay, I think that we covered pretty much everything from the news except this one. Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, he was on the podcast of Joe Rogan, and what they discussed, at least like 5 minutes probably, they were talking about the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. And what they said, or what Jack Dorsey said, is that he believes that there will be some internet money eventually, and he doesn't know whether it will be Bitcoin or not, or some other one, but it's for sure will happen. It's just a matter of time. And also they mentioned their Cash App, which is now second most popular Apple application. And I think from 2018, beginning 2018, it is sort of Bitcoin friendly. You can use Bitcoin there somehow. I don't use it on my own, so I don't know really, by myself. I don't know really how it is implemented there. But in any case, it seems like everybody who are using this app, they are sort of seeing that, okay, we have Bitcoin paying option or something like that. And it's very similar to, for example, how the credit cards were implemented before, and initially people were sort of cautious. They were saying, a credit card, it does mean that my money will travel through the internet, really? Well, it can be hacked and so on and so forth. It's not that safe. And now we are basically work with credit cards every day, and we can't imagine our life without credit cards. So it's like an avalanche process. And when such things like that it happened with credit cards, such things with Bitcoin will be sort of everyday life thing when you see Bitcoin everywhere, and it seems like it increases your trust. Like everybody are doing that, it's still there. Like now, for example, it's 10 years old and nothing happened, it wasn't hacked, it is not a scam, and so on and so forth. It's just only rising, and more merchandisers, merchants and businesses accepting, and there are like services on Bitcoin and other crypto and so on. So people are starting to think, okay, actually it may be good. So maybe I can have some profits, like it's cheaper or something. So why not to use it? So that is how it is started, and that is how the crypto revolution can begin, and well, maybe actually already began, so it can continue and flourish. Okay, that's it with the news. Let's return to our price, the most interesting thing which everybody are looking at. Well, I can't say that there are a lot of things happen again, but a little bit, and that little bit is that technically, although we are still going sideways, but there are some minor signs of sort of recovery and bullish direction. So we see here previous low, and then next low was higher. So and still we are higher than the previous low. So this was the previous high, and although we can't make it here, we needed a correction. So we actually made it a bit higher than this one. So technically, higher low, higher high, we're in the uptrend. Well, of course, sometimes this thing end up not really nicely. So everything could happen. And the second thing, if you remember, we were drawing this, we were making and showing this triangle or wedge, following the descending wedge, and now we are broke this wedge upwards. Although we very soon returned back, and no volume here, so I wouldn't really call it a break upwards of this triangle or wedge. I think it's just maybe either the fake breakout, or it depends again how you will build this wedge. Also, you can have another trend line instead of this green one. You can have this blue trend line, which is more like flat, and we are still in this formation. And the last thing, that technically you can look at another triangle here, where, and again, this is TA, and at this time when Bitcoin is that low and liquidity is that low, you may say that those triangles are pretty much useless, and I would say that in 49% of cases they are, but we still need to have some reference points to look at. And yeah, it's more likely to be that some psychology works here, or just at least some strong support resistance kind of thing, not exactly like patterns which play out or don't play out. But in any case, again, have some hope. And also I must mention that for the overall market, so we have well, let's again return to Bitcoin. We had $4,000 100 here, well, like $4,000 here, and now we are pretty much at 3,400, almost 500. So it's 500 drop, and it is 1/8 of the whole market, so it's not that big. But for the altcoins, if you look at them, it was more than 60 billion, and now it is 50 billion. So it is like 15% drop. and that is obviously bigger, well, a little bit bigger than the Bitcoin drop, which means that technically altcoins, they don't they're not better than Bitcoin, they're going even lower. So Bitcoin dominance is increasing in principle a little bit, so you can get it from that. So yeah, this is not a really good sign for overall market. So technically we are still in a bearish trend, and let's see how this triangle will play out, and I think that will be really soon. Okay guys, thank you for watching, thank you for being with me today, and hope to see you tomorrow in the next update. Safe trading, goodbye.